Dalton was a pretty cool kid. He was funny, witty, very bright.
Liked to light stuff on fire.
Yeah.
Was always cracking a joke, but didn't share food. If you tried to steal one of his French fries or a mint or something like that, he got particularly annoyed.
He one day went down to our neighborhood pool, and he had gotten a laundry box, but he used it and made it like a robot out of himself, and off to the pool he went. He didn't really care what other people thought. He was just this quirky little kid at times. And I remember a parent looking at me like, "You just let your kid walk down here?" And I was like, "It's what he wanted to wear."
I was the assistant coach on his 8-year-old coach pitch baseball team, and I was coaching first, and he hit a home run over the fence. It went over the fence, and I was so excited as a first base coach. I was jumping up and down, screaming, and he thought he had done something wrong and turned around, almost went back to the dugout. And I said, "No, run, run." If someone asked me about Dalton, I'd try to tell them about his personality and less about his disease, because he never wanted cancer to define him. So what I want people to remember about Dalton is he's just a regular, fun-loving kid.
End of second grade year, he started complaining of some lower leg pain. We didn't think anything of it. In that October, I had another pathological fracture, so the doctor decided that he was going to do a surgery. So in December, there was a bone cyst that was drained. The pain just kept getting worse. The doctor said it was just he was recovering from surgery. It was the bone cement hurting. And it wasn't until one of his teachers called us and said, "Hey, Jen, Dalton's in a lot of pain. He's not going to tell us, we can see it." So we took him to the hospital, and
March 5th, 2018.
was our final diagnosis
He had
day.
a biopsy on his leg 9 months after his leg started hurting. That's when we find out it was a Ewing sarcoma. Chemotherapy lasted about 11 months, and in between there, he had they call it limb salvage surgery. And then the following spring, he was declared no evidence of disease. We actually had a no more chemo party for him. And then 3 months later, so Memorial Day of 2019, he came out of the beach with a bump on his leg. We took him back to the hospital, and we could see immediately from the looks on the doctors' faces that the cancer had come back. So he's put on more chemotherapy, different chemotherapy regimen, and he was scheduled for an amputation, which he had shortly before Labor Day in 2019. A couple days after that amputation, he was determined to be at the first day of school as a safety patrol. So 5 days after amputation, Dalton crutched in with one leg and a backpack full of stuff, and manned his safety patrol position.
He did.
May, early June of 2020, he had trouble breathing during swim practice. We took him back to the hospital, and that's where they found large tumors in his chest, pushing his trachea. Spent a couple weeks in the hospital, more chemo, a bunch of clinical trial in DC, a bunch of other clinical trials. Nothing worked, and then 3 years and a couple months after he was first diagnosed, Dalton passed away at home at 12 years old.
Well, our strength came from really our community. It came from our hospital, the staff, the doctors, and even things like St. Baldrick's, just going to shave heads. Dalton got to do that 1 year, and he really, he just enjoyed being around, I think, people that were like him and going through similar things. But he also enjoyed just being at school and being a normal kid.
I got my strength from Dalton. We'd walk in the clinic or the hospital, and he'd be on one leg or in a wheelchair, and I'd be the proudest dad there was, walking with my warrior, my hero.
So we started Defeat Cancer at the Dalton Fox Foundation in September of 2021. We did it because we'd promised Dalton that we wouldn't give up fighting. No family should go through what we have. It's not an easy journey, even when you do have the support. We chose the research side of that because we want our kids here longer.
I gave him a hug the day before he passed and said, "Dalton, I'd take all this stuff if I could for you." And he whispered in my ear, "Dad, I wouldn't want you to." So no 12-year-old should have to tell his dad that. So that's what Defeat is all about, trying to help kids like Dalton beat cancer.
We'd originally thought, oh, the Dalton Fox Foundation. I was like, that's a little boring. Let's add a little humor to it.
We used to call Dalton D, so as his nickname, and then Feet was just a humorous play on the fact that Dalton was missing a foot.
And then we added the Dalton Fox Foundation because it is named after Dalton. And it keeps his name alive because we love talking about him. We will talk to anybody about him, and we want his name to still be said.
Everything about defeat cancer is research-based. So as much money as we can raise, we give directly to the researchers so they can fund and study pediatric cancer and hope give children like Dalton and even Dalton's doctors and nurses, professionals like that, more tools in their bag to help kids like Dalton. The drugs Dalton received came out from 1959 to 1987. So in Ewing sarcoma and other pediatric cancers, that's the best we can do for these kids. So I hope defeat cancer, one, improves technology, and two, just raises public awareness. More public awareness, more funding, we could help a lot more sick kids and save a lot more lives.
We partnered with St. Baldrick's because they have the ability and the resources to find those researchers. As a small nonprofit, we don't have access to that. So just having those resources and guidance has been super helpful for us to make sure that the money that our donors and our participants of all of our events, all of their money is going to a great cause and the research that needs to be done.
So the research we just funded by Dr. Christopher Kuo. He's a postdoc researcher in Los Angeles. Through St. Baldrick's, we get to virtually meet Dr. Kuo and learn that his brother suffered from osteosarcoma, a similar disease, and passed away from osteosarcoma. So we found a kinship with Dr. Kuo that, you know, he takes this personally, we take it personally, but he's also, you know, a great researcher, and hopefully some of his research will lead to better treatments and hopefully a cure someday.
We hope that in the future, children that are diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma have better treatment options so that there are less toxic side effects and that these kids are living healthier lives despite their diagnosis. We want them outside playing with their friends. We want them at birthday parties. We want them at school. We want them making normal family memories.
To everyone who has supported defeat cancer, thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, we can't say it enough. We've had incredible community support, both before Dalton passed and since we started defeat, and it just keeps growing. Thank you isn't words enough, but thank you.
Yes, thank you to our supporters, our community. Just keep joining us at our events, bringing new people, and thanks for loving us.